Hey girl, hey!
Welcome to the podcast. We're four Latinas about to spill the tea on anything and everything.
I'm Laura C.
I'm Laura G.
I'm Jessie.
And I'm Gio. So we're about to keep it raw and unfiltered. We're not going to sugarcoat it.
So if you have any kids around, you may want to go ahead and send them off to bed, or I don't know what parents do these days.
Yeah, what do parents do these days?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Me neither.
Well,
I don't have any kids.
all right, well, let's get started.
Welcome back to our first full-length episodes. As always, we should clink to our drinks and cheers to doing things. All right, so today's topic is going to be about old school, new school. You know, we're going to just kind of touch into a little bit about everything, a little bit about relationships and marriage and expectations and husband and wife roles and, you know, sex before marriage and moving in before marriage and if that's a thing or whatever, or how we all feel about it. So let's jump on in.
How do we feel about it?
Well, you know, and then again, as we did mention before, this is just, again, our opinions and our thoughts. This is not a wrong or right way. This is basically just us telling, you know, giving just our opinions and having fun and whatnot, okay? So I hope nobody gets offensive or offended or anything if we just mention and give our thoughts, okay? This is a free zone, no judge zone.
No judge zone.
But, I mean, I guess one of the things I can say is... again, you know, we did mention that we're Latinas, so as Hispanics, sometimes our parents, especially as a woman or a lady, señorita, they want you to, you know, leave the house married. You know, we don't want you to leave by yourself. What is a young girl like you gonna do living on her own? You know, type of things like that. And a lot of people still do agree that old way type of thing. Don't leave the house until you're married. You know. But nowadays, a lot of people, you know, like me, you know, I live alone. You know, did my parents approve of it as Hispanics? No, they didn't. You know, but a lot of people do it nowadays, and I enjoy it. I think it's a good thing for me, and you know. But then again, everybody does their own things. But old school and a new thing. But you know, I'm happy that I made that choice. That, you know, I left before I was married or tied up, if you want to say it. Why? Because at least being on my own, it gives me time for me, to do my me time, to do what I want, to hang out who what I want. Unlike if I was still with my parents and then left married, I don't feel I would have ever had that my me time to know me. You know, it was more like, okay, I'm living with my parents, I obey the rules, now I'm married, and I don't want to say stuck, but, you know, I'm in this long-term commitment now. So, you know, just little things like that. So,
Or you still got to ask for permission.
shit.
Yeah, that's true too. Even though they don't live in your house, they still like try to make some rules.
Yeah.
But you know, like you were saying, when you leave the home, like in our culture, it kind of doesn't look appropriate or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's part of like growing, you know. So being married and having a man to, you know, just have a man around doesn't make you a better woman, or it doesn't. I don't know why they feel like that's what a woman's supposed to do. You're supposed to get a man, have kids, you know, be this like rock of the house and all this stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm all for that if that's what you want to do, but not if that's what people are telling you to do and you want to do other things, but you're not gonna explore, you know?
Right.
Old school mentality.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I'm definitely a new school girl. Certainly I
Old
did
school?
the marriage a new school. I'm all day today.
New school.
Back by popular demand, but I certainly am not the old school type. You know, my parents have been married forever and a day, too long, and you know the way that their dynamic works is something that would really never work for me. You know, I can't be expected to ask for permission, or you know, in my case, I'd be asking for forgiveness because it's easier. But I'll just do what I gotta do. But I don't know, it's just a very independent mentality that I have, and it's not that nobody's allowed to come in. It's just that this is kind of this is me. This is the package. I don't want to really modify it much for anybody, you know.
Including your parents.
Including my parents. No, that's for sure. That's for sure. We're all on the same page for that because I was married before and that didn't work out. And whenever I was ready to venture out and do my own thing, we sat down, us three, and it was like I did things the way you wanted things done. And that was waited for marriage to move in. I wouldn't necessarily say that I waited to have sex. I mean, come on.
She tried that first.
Nobody buys a car without driving that bitch. Anyway. So I did it your way. It didn't work out, parents, and so it's my story now. And somebody and I moved in together, and we were together for a couple years, but it was like, I'm not going to do it this way. It worked out for you guys back in 1968. It's not working this way in 2010, whenever that happened, so it's just different times.
But you know what's funny? I remember when I was growing up, not that I would like to have opposite beliefs with my mom, but I was always like, well, I don't feel this way about that. Like, listen to me, Linda. But one of the things that I remember clearly was like, so what happens if I just want to move out of the house and live with a guy? Like, what if I don't want to marry him? What if I want to get to know him? Because we got to see other marriages around, and you would see your friends, your family members, and things like that. And I think from an early age, you start to realize maybe that's not what I want. And I just think it's important to encourage somebody to get to know themselves before committing to somebody else. Because at the end of the day, yourself as a full person is what's important. I hate the saying that it's like, oh, I want to meet my other half orange or whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like, that's not true. We have to be complete to be able to be with somebody else,
Right.
And some people don't need somebody else. Some people just want to be alone, and that's what they're good at. And and that's important in the world, to have the diversity in everything.
Right, and the understanding that that's what you want to do.
Definitely.
And the acceptance from the old school.
Right.
Accepting that this is what you want to do. I literally have an aunt that I see every time that tells me, oh my God, I pray every night that you find somebody. I'm like, man, pray for me to win the lotto. Don't pray for that shit. I'm fine. I'm happy. I don't necessarily, need somebody there all the time and every time and somebody to tend to. I don't know. I do what I want when I want. And I just kind of do my thing, but I don't necessarily have to report to anybody, and I can't say that it's, she may be in the best of relationships. You know what I mean? It's like you make some pretty hard sacrifices for things that me would have been a firm fucking no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go on, girl. But for me, that shit would have been a firm no.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But that's you.
Well, yeah, it's again, how you're saying, there's a lot of things that if you were in that situation, you would have said no. And again, we go back to being Hispanics, sometimes as women in old culture, it didn't matter what the man did to you, or you tolerated the cheating, you tolerated the everything, and it's no, this is because as a woman, this is what you need to do. You got to make sure your husband's happy, and if he's cheating on you or whatever, you're what is the saying? Just pretend you're blind, deaf, and mute. Don't say anything. You didn't hear anything.
What are you not doing? Why is he venturing out? What are you not doing, bitch?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And you could probably do everything fine, but at that time, it's you're gonna tolerate it. Just stay quiet. And make sure he has a hot meal on the table. That's how old school type of days.
Yeah.
But nowadays, it's if you're independent and you're no, I want to do my thing, and no, I don't want to do this. No, if he wants a type of food, he can get it himself. It's oh, how dare you not? It's what's wrong with that? He got hands, I got hands. It's okay, type of thing. But it's just society and culture. I think again how we just grew up, or the things they say to do and what not to do. But who says what's right and wrong?
Right, and it's not to say that that's expected. I want to take pride and to be happy. Like, oh my gosh, look at this badass meal that I made you.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to feel
Right.
obligated.
Take a picture because that's the
Right.
one for the year.
Put it on the food filter because this is going viral. But I don't want to be expected to do that. You know, you
Definitely.
would definitely want to do it out of the goodness of your heart, or like, oh man,
Right.
I'm gonna make this special meal. That probably wouldn't be my case.
If it was our case.
I just went to a drive-through and I put in a plate. Does
But
that
this
count?
bitch can order like no one's business.
And I feel like that's bad too when they're like, well, you're not really like the home type. Like, so what? That doesn't make me less of a woman.
It doesn't.
Like,
Be like, and you're not bad Brad Pitt in the bedroom. What the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
we've all got disappointments. I mean, come on. Not
What?
that I've ever been with Brad Pitt in the bedroom, but
oh, you
I've
haven't?
seen Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Down,
She's just saying.
sold. Throw me out of a
I
Mercedes.
thought you were
It's
trying not
cool.
to say your age. I was kidding.
Yeah, he is kind of old now.
He's still handsome.
He
like,
is.
there's some old people. Okay, talking about old school and new school. There's some old people or old guys because old guys are like, damn, you're cute.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm excited for some people to get old.
Oh, friend, what are you imagining? Guys, if you could just see her right now.
Girl.
She's getting a little excited right now.
Oh,
Just my husband. Like, of course I'm thinking about him, right?
She has to say that because he will be the first one listening to this podcast.
No, he supports me. That's the other thing, like
Yes.
there's this new generation of guys out there that understand that, they actually see you. Okay, you're my equal partner in this relationship. It's two of us. We're gonna make decisions together. Of course, the toilet seat always has to be down. But besides that,
right, because you're gonna fall in.
exactly.
Like, that's fucked up.
No shit. Come get me out.
Total setup.
Yeah, but I think the new generation of guys coming and the one that was raised with us kind of like getting to that point too that half of them are like, oh, well, my mom basically trained me that when I get home I have to have my food served, you gotta wash my clothes.
Yes.
And then there's others that are like, hey, like, what should we do today? Like it's an actual two adults conversation, making decisions together.
Yep. Or when you have those moms that tell their son, mijo, make sure you find a woman that's just like me. Oh, hell no.
Oh, mommy issues.
And they have like what, mamitis?
That's a little narcissistic of you, Mom.
No shit.
It's a little much. That's crazy.
I thought it was like the saying. I don't know if y'all heard it. I don't know if it was Spanish, English. I don't know what language it was, but it was basically saying that the girls end up marrying somebody kind of that has certain characteristics their dads have, and then the boys vice versa. And I'm like, oh hell no!
Yeah.
For real.
Like
I just-
like growing up, I was like, oh,
For real.
like that
Yeah.
scared me. It's like, why is that it? And like there has to be some sort of psychology in there. But what if you had a bad relationship with your dad? Like, why would I want somebody like my dad if I had a bad relationship with him?
Yeah.
No.
But then again, that's like how you said earlier of the fact like how we should love ourselves first and like work on ourselves first or who we are, because the people do have like mom issues or dad issues and they end up seeking for that in a relationship without even noticing that they're actually doing it. But yeah, that's when we come again that it's very important to love yourself before actually getting into a committed relationship or any relationship, honestly.
Right, as hard as that is to do. Because,
Right.
you're
It's
like,
not
oh my
easy.
God, it's so exciting. Oh my God, just, we're together.
Yeah. No kidding.
As hard as it is to do,
Yeah.
it's easier said than done, but it is something that you've got to,
Yeah.
like, shit, this is a hard no for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got a lot of no's. I'm a new school, no.
I'm just gonna. I am obviously not that old, so I couldn't really say from the side. But the older people I knew in my family, like tias and things like that, they would never really talk to you about sex. Like I don't think anybody gave me the sex talk,
No.
And later on, when my mom started seeing that, I wouldn't say I was a horny teenager, but I had a lot of crushes. But like she would try and be like, you have to let me know when you start having sex and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't want to, but like, I guess it was my childish of not understanding, right? Luckily, I wasn't like a super early person, but at the same time, she made like awkward comments like later on when I got older. She's like, oh my goodness, we need to go buy you this lingerie and things like that. I was like, Mom,
Yeah.
I do not want you to see me in that. Like,
Right.
and like when she tries and buy things like that, I'm like, oh, can you please not? Like, it's so uncomfortable.
That is awkward. I don't know how I'd feel about
Yeah, no
my mom buying me laundry. I'd be like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is your problem?
Right.
Why would you do that? Where is your mind? In the gutter, lady. I'd go straight old school on her quick.
Oh, ahí sí te conviene.
Like, we just go to church.
Yes, Mom.
How dare you, cochinas?
10 Hail Marys.
But not even just with sex, but menstruals. Like, I don't know if your mom's told you, hey, this is gonna happen to you. Like, my mom never told me that either until when it did happen to me. I was like, what the F is going on?
Dying.
You know, and then it's like, oh, mija, well, now this is happening, and this is what you're gonna do, and yada, yada, yada. But there was never like, you know, at one point, mija, if this happens, it's normal. Don't get scared,
Right.
like nothing.
I was going to tell you about that
None of
next
that.
week. I didn't expect for you to have it this week. I was going to tell you next week.
Right. So, I mean, it's like, I know that's old school, if maybe some moms didn't want to, like, talk to their daughters about it like that. But it's like, now thinking about new school, if the day that I have a daughter, I'm going to talk to her about it. I'm going to be like, this is a pad, this is a tampon.
Yeah.
But you
You
see,
know?
I don't know, schools, are they teaching that now? Because when I was in school, they weren't teaching me necessarily about that. Like, I know they started kind of talking about sex, but I don't know if maybe
They never
earlier in
talked about
schools,
periods.
you know.
Well, when I was in 5th grade, they supplied girls with pads, not necessarily tampons, but in 5th grade we did have a class about that.
Little
But
video.
Little video. But your parents had to sign a consent form for you to allow you to have that lecture. So I remember they gave us like deodorant and stuff like that, showed us videos that we would grow hair in our armpits, in our pubic areas. So they did
I
show
can
us.
know.
So they did show us that type of stuff, and they would let us know that, you know, your boobs were gonna grow. It was like little cartoon, you know, videos and stuff or whatever. But parents had to sign, and like she was saying, but even though my mom signed the consent form, she really never went into detail about it herself. She was just like, oh, but they told you in school, didn't you? They told you that already, right? And it's like, well, sort of, kind of. I kind of wish you would tell me. And same thing, when I got my period, I was like, Mom, I think I know. I think I have my period. And she was like, ugh, okay, so now you got it.
Thanks, Mom.
She was kind of like disappointed. It was like, oh, well.
It's like,
But
now I
then
have to worry
again-
about pregnancy.
Right. But then again, I got mine at a very young age. I got it in 5th grade. So, and I think people get it when they're middle school. I got mine in elementary. I was young. So,
I think I was in the 6th grade.
yeah, middle school. Yeah.
I don't have any memorable experience with that.
My sister is older than me, and so I would see, like, what are these always little wrappers?
Churro, what is
And so, you know, of course, out of curiosity, you like open one up and you're like, what the fuck is this?
She's dying.
What? Not a used one, friend.
Well, please explain, because that's what I thought, and I think the girls thought the same thing.
I said in a wrapper, in its original wrapper.
Well, I thought, you know, like how you like
I'd have died. I
With the
thought she
pad.
was like
Right.
dying and
Thanks for clarifying to the audience.
fell out in the bathroom.
Right.
Seriously, but
But you know that also that myth that went around that, oh my God, if you use a tampon, you're gonna lose your virginity.
oh
Yeah,
God,
Like,
yeah.
No.
I believe that for the longest time. So I'm like, tampons? Fuck that. I'm still a virgin. I can't. I guess the anatomy doesn't work that way. Like, you know, I had no
Right.
idea
How
how that works.
fantastic life would be. Like you'd almost feel like you're normal. And
Yeah, no
sitting on
kidding.
Exactly.
I still don't use tampons, y'all.
fucking
Why?
Because I'm traumatized. It's so
Toxic.
my best friend's fault.
TSS.
Oh.
Because my mom's belief was like, that's not like, that's kind of sexual.
It's your senorita
and like,
parts.
that was like a no-no, right?
Yeah.
Like she really looked at it bad. And sometimes when your parents are teaching you these things, you're like, oh, well, doesn't
Right.
matter. So I didn't know any different. But then my friend, she grew up here in the U.S. and she's white, so kind of like a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
And we went to the beach one day, and the strongest day of the week was, and I was like, "Oh, well, I really want to go to the beach, and she's like, well, here, use one. I'm like, what the fuck do I do with that?
Yeah.
Luckily at that point, I already didn't have to worry about the virginity part, right? But I was like,
well, that shit's out the window.
so I put it in, okay, the insertion was fine. But then after I went to the beach, I had no idea these things blow up like 8,000 its size. I'm sorry, but I'm very traumatized. I was in the bathroom trying to pull it out for a while. Her mom and her were outside the door. And I was like, I can't pull it out. I can't. One of you is going to have to.
Oh
Like,
my goodness.
it was so
I could
bad.
see the trauma.
And they were laughing until this day. Like, it's still kind of like a joke because I'm like, and then I only did it one more time for the beach and that's it. Only 2 times.
Dang, brain.
I can't go back to pads.
I cannot. Like,
I can't.
I cannot. It's life. Like, I just feel like a normal person.
It's a changer.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's,
No,
a,
it
it's a
is.
life changer, definitely.
I don't care anymore. Like I play a bunch of sports. That's the most active I'm gonna be all my fucking life. So if I did that, I mean,
But my mom didn't talk about it either, so I just knew because of
Yeah.
my sister. And when it happened, I think I was like in 7th grade, wearing white pants nonetheless. But
Oh.
nothing happened. But it was just like, I feel something funny.
I was wearing khakis.
Oh,
Oh.
shit. And I just went to the bathroom and I was like, okay, we'll assess the situation and get this going and go to the nurse's office. And I was just like, cool. Came home and was like, starting my period today. And it was just like, okay, you know what to do? Yep, okay.
Dang,
Wow.
But
really?
yeah, because I don't know, I guess just by hearing my sister and
Probably.
all I could pray for was that I wouldn't be doubled over in pain like she was, you know.
Oh.
And
Oh,
luckily,
yeah.
I haven't. But I was like, this is the shit you have to look forward to. I'm gonna die. But no, luckily it's been all good. But yeah, I didn't even get the sex talk either. That's why
Yeah,
it's my
me
like
neither.
lifelong passion to make my mom feel super uncomfortable to talk about sex stuff. So I just say all kinds of shit in front of her, and she's just like, Laura, oh my God. And I'm just like, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Not even just the sex talk, but my mom didn't even talk to me about birth control.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, yeah. No, of course
nothing.
not.
You
Yeah.
know, I
no.
mean, I don't know.
that
I
has to
don't-
do with the sex talk.
Yeah. And I don't know if it's because if they feel like, oh, if I'm going to tell her about birth control, then that's going to make her want to go and have sex. Or maybe I can't picture my little girl going around and having sex. I mean, I don't know what was going on in my mom's head. But now that I think about it, no. All that I learned on my own.
Yeah.
You know, just being mature enough about it.
I think my mom's way to talking to me and my sister about it, like her best birth control was like, well, in God's eyes, your body's a treasure, and that treasure is only to be given to this one person. And my mom's like so sweet about everything. Like she would get us presents for like things. Like if I was cramping really bad one day, she would bring me like a teddy bear and like chocolate. Like she was really sweet, right?
That is
But
so sweet.
yeah, she's really sweet. I don't know how this came out to be, but
She's referring to herself.
yeah. But she was saying that, and then when I actually started experimenting sexually, I just feel so guilty. I don't know how y'all feel, but I was like, my mom knows. Like my mom knows you just touched my boob. Like we're like five miles away or something, but she knows. Like I'm gonna go to hell now. Like it was this like constant bad and negative association with sexuality that
Yeah.
I struggle with it because I felt guilty. And then I know it kind of plays a role in like how you feel like spiritually and like if you believe in God and all these things, but then like I still felt certain way about that, and then my mom constantly like washing my head with, your body's a temple. I'm like, Mom, it's not a temple anymore. But she didn't know that, right? And then she's like, you would tell me, right?
Yeah.
No.
Totes.
I don't want to talk about this. And you always feel like moms know. Like,
Yeah.
they're
I mean,
witches.
it's crazy.
They
Moms know
always
everything.
know. They always know.
I don't remember. The only thing my mom would probably tell me, kind of like hinting certain things, but it's like, no vayas a salir con tu domingo 7.
Oh my God.
And it's like, you
What's
know,
Domingo Siete?
pregnant.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah, it's like
Hispanic
a
thing that
Hispanic
they
saying.
say. Or
Yeah. I
Mexican or
haven't heard
something.
that.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where it comes from, but yeah, they would
Yeah.
tell me that all the time.
Oh, I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about like not going out on the 7th, like the Sunday 7th. That's
No.
another thing. Like,
It's like a
no
dicho
drinking,
for-
partying on like holidays.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
It's something about like, about not
Don't get
getting pregnant or
pregnant.
something.
Yeah.
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 But they would always say that. I remember then when I started to be sexually active, I'm trying to remember. I was like, no, I don't ever think I felt guilty about it, but there were certain times where like I would say something like, oh, se me antojó esto, whatever. And then my mom would be like, and there she goes, like, no vayas a salir con tu domingo 7. But obviously, I never opened up to my mom about, oh, hey, mom, like, I'm sexually active, But it's like you said, I think moms know. I think they just know.
I mean, there are some things that I still do old school. Like, if, I don't know, one of the things that my mom does is, like, if my dad is eating or if she's served him a meal or something, like, even if she's not eating, she'll sit there with him. To where, some people may be like, okay, your husband's going to eat at the table and whatever, and you're kind of doing your own thing. To where that's something that I do as well. Like, if I have a guest at the house or something and we're eating, or if they're eating and I'm not eating, like, I'm sitting there with them, and kind of joining them through the whole thing. But I don't know, like, companionship, it's kind of like something that I see other people not really caring about it. Like, I don't know, it's just kind of like dinner time is like a bonding time, I think.
Yeah.
For me, I associate it with, like, phones away, just kind of hanging out, talking, catching up, stuff like that. That's a little old school that I like to keep.
I like that too a lot,
Even-
actually.
Yeah.
My family is small. My parents are divorced for XYZ years. But even now, it's thinking about like old school. Yeah, you're having lunch or you're having dinner with somebody, and it's like, this is the time for us to kind of conversate.
Right.
How you been? How was your day? How's it going? And stuff like that. But even sometimes I find it myself where when me and my mom would go on our little like dates, lunch dates and stuff like that, it's like I would find myself that I would not be on my phone, but she would be on her phone. It's like we're conversating, and all of a sudden she's just looking down, and she's like, oh yeah, mom. So da 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 da, and then and I was like, did you just hear?
You're
what
ready to
I
focus on me.
say? Exactly.
Get off the phone.
So there's the whole thing. It was like even like my mom obviously maybe being like old school, but this whole phone thing is now the new school, and I'm over
Yeah.
here still trying to keep it like old school.
Right, like, let's
Right.
catch up. Let's take this
Exactly.
hour conversation to catch up and,
Right.
Yeah.
But you see, we like to retain the good of the old school. Like, yeah, we're talking about a bunch of things that we're like, oh, well, I don't feel that way. But there's a lot of things that I'm going to carry my life forever,
Yeah.
like that one, for example. And unfortunately, with technology and the way that every day now is like so fast paced, like, you can just really like take a moment to unplug because there's always something going on.
Yeah.
And I noticed that, like you were saying, my family we always used to have like our lunch or dinner or whatever. If we were at home, we would have them together. And like we wouldn't have technology because we didn't have the like digital phones. It was where you play Snake and all that, so you wouldn't really
favorite.
use those much, right? And then technology started coming around, and of course my brother and my sister and I would, but I know my sister and I still like to like have that like social time with your family. But then I noticed my dad was the one that started doing the technology, like Gio's mom was saying, you know. And I would just get so pissed, and I was like, ugh, you know, it's so annoying. And same thing with my husband's family. It's like, if we're going out to eat, I want to spend time with you guys. I don't want you to put your face on your fucking phone the whole time. You know, it's like, I could have gone home and eat by myself if that's the point, you know. And I really like that, like, old traditional thing of, you know, this is our time together or whatnot.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I do too, and even knowing that, like, some people are just numb. Like, I don't know if they're in their own world or what, but if we're having a conversation and we're at dinner or something, and there's that one person on the phone, and you have, like, this TikTok or Facebook video blaring, it's like,
my God.
are you dense? Are you not in tune with your surroundings? Take a look around. Like, nobody wants to hear that shit. We're having a full-blown conversation, and you're playing this blaring in an elevator, in a waiting room, and whatever the scenario may be. But it's just like, you are legit technology dense, like, and have no idea about what's happening around you, and you're just so self-centered. I think that is one of the rudest things. I think that's new school. Like, the whole narcissistic me syndrome. I think that's total new school. That's so rude.
No,
It's
Very
so rude.
rude. That's
I agree.
because
happened
it's
to me.
all about me. Like, I take this picture, how many likes do I get? Me.
my God.
Look at me, look how I can dance, look at whatever, you know. And it's like, I love social media in a way, but I hate it, you know, because even in the internet, there's so many good things and positive things that come from it. But of course, like human beings, we always bring out the worst on everything
Right.
as
It's
well.
a love-hate,
Exactly.
and, you know, you can be doing something really positive, but you're going to have that one hater in the comments, that one Debbie Downer that's just going to ruin the whole show, you know?
exactly.
It's like, just shut up. Like,
I'm talking about like technology with the old school, new school thing. I love watching the older people on TikTok, like the older couples. Oh my goodness, they crack me up. And I love seeing like old people like texting their kids or like trying to send a video that's so fucking blurry, but I'm still gonna love it. You know, it's like, I love that. I love how they're trying to adapt to times changing, you know, because
definitely.
I'm sure things have changed a lot for them, you know.
yeah, my parents are in their 70s, and their mom is like, has 3 tablets, cell phone, wireless headphones, all kinds of shit, all kinds of adapters, all kinds of, and she wants like a laptop now. It's like, I'm not sure how many more bingo games you can download.
Oh my gosh.
But it's, I do love that they're in technology, and I love hearing, you know, since we're in healthcare, but I love hearing people at checkout saying, well, let me just put that in my iPhone calendar. It's okay, I don't need a paper copy. And I'm just like, you're so cute, and you're like 80. But I like that they do adapt to the easier things, or to things that make your life easier, but not necessarily taking away from your life and like conversations and things you do and relationships you have and establish and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
What else do you guys like that your family touch, or that you kind of want to like carry along with you guys?
You know what's funny right now that you guys were saying things that we still keep like from, you know, old school or from our parents, was that I remember when I used to date this guy, my parents were always strict, especially being a girl. Like, if you bring a guy to the house, you're not going to bring him if we're not here, and you cannot be in your room by yourself with him, whatever. And I remember when I was dating this guy, I kind of gave him the rundown, like, look, my parents are this, they are very strict, blah, blah, blah. You're either going to like the rules or you're not, you know? And I told him, I was like, look, if you come to the house, we're not going to be in my room.
You gotta come to the window.
I did that when I was in high school. As I grew up, I was like, not no more.
Knock 3 times and give me a caw, and I'm on that shit.
Give you a what?
Caw. And I'm gonna open the window.
And so, I would tell him, like, look, if you're going to come to the house, we're not going to be in my room by ourselves. Like, this is just the rules that my parents have, and if you're going to respect me, you're going to obey that. If you want to be with me, you're going to respect that rule. If not, okay, well then bye, and he would respect that rule, but I think same thing, like, let's say if I have a girl, I wouldn't let her be in the room with the guy by herself. I was her age once. I know what we do or what we could do, but just think more of a respect as a woman or a girl, I believe, and that's just things that I still bring in from my parents. Unless you have your own job or you're 18 or an adult or whatever, and you think you can do your own thing, just, I don't know, if you have enough money and you can go get a hotel, well then go for it, but you're not going to do your nasty at home when your parents are home, but I don't know, I just feel that's one of the things. And when I had my ex-partner, he respected that rule, and if he ever wanted to sleep at my house, we would just sleep in the living room. Like, we would not go to my room, and he respected that rule. And I would stay firm with it too. Like, no, we're not going to go to my room. Why? Because I grew up like that. That is just so disrespectful,
Me too. My mom find it so disrespectful. Like, I was in a relationship with my husband for years and years on end, but like, even like, I would say a year before we got married, she's still, and like, we are like full grown adults, right? But that's another topic.
Yeah.
Do Hispanic parents ever consider you an adult? I don't think so. You're never an adult to them, But like, she find it so disrespectful. Like, we had a family member back in Colombia that Mama walked in and she found her with her boyfriend in the bed. They weren't doing anything sexual. Yeah. They were just cuddling, watching a movie. And my mom just blew the up, like, and I don't necessarily think there's anything bad with it after a certain age. And also, it's like your boundaries. Like, she always said, boys are just going to go until where you allow them, and until this day, I think it's still true, unless it's a fucking dumbass that is trying to do other shit, right?
Right.
But when I was younger and I saw people doing that, I feel uncomfortable because I was like, oh, my mom told me this is wrong, whatever. And then as I got older, I was like, Mom, get over it. But I still, at her house, would never.
Yeah.
Like, the only time my mom has ever seen me share a bed with him is when we got married. And of course, we'd share a bed when we were like in a trip like Cancun or something.
Right.
And she would be like, so do you share a bed? I was like, yes, Mom. We went on a trip with a bunch of couples. Like,
right.
And then that's where, like, they have to trust that they raise you a certain way,
Exactly.
That at the end of the day is your life, and whether you learn or what you want to do with your life is there a certain point. But I think definitely, like, those kind of stricter rules, I do want to enforce at my home, at a younger age. But I hope that I won't carry them too long, like my mom did, for example, because we tend to do things that our parents do a lot without realizing it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm turning into my mom.
Yeah. But I think hopefully, like with us, if we ever have children, the fact that we'll try to communicate with them more, that we'll give them the opportunity, like, hey, you can talk to me, et cetera, because my mom was just always like, if you can hold hands with a boy, but nothing more, because if he does something else, you're gonna get pregnant. Okay, but you never really explained to me how I can't get pregnant. Hell, I was scared if a guy just put his shoulder around me. I'm like, oh my God, am I pregnant?
You mean if I put this here?
Mom, I'm pregnant.
So it's things like that. It's like, I think I feel we'll have more communication, like, you can do this if you touch here, but if this and this gets together, then hey, there's a baby type of thing. But hell, I thought a guy just kissing me, I would get pregnant, but yeah. Oh, baby bump.
I wonder how we're gonna be later on in life. Like, when we have kids, what are our kids gonna say about us? Because, we all know nobody's perfect. So, of course, our parents made mistakes and we learn from that. and we kind of like choose, okay, I don't want to do that, but I do want to do this. So like, how's life gonna turn on us one day? And people are like, oh, you see that shit they did? Hell no.
Yeah, because at the same time, I see a lot of parents, and that's just because I have friends like this, that parents want to be their best friend.
Yes, and I've seen that too.
Mm-hmm.
And then the kid
Is an asshole.
Yeah, not just that, or then the parents like, oh, well, I don't know, por qué ella o él es así.
Yep.
Well, because you didn't set that boundary where like, no, I'm your mom. It's like, oh yeah, she's like my friend, so obviously they're just gonna teach you like they're gonna treat you like a friend.
Exactly.
They're not gonna have that parent respect.
Right.
And I've seen that because, back home, I knew someone who was a friend to their kids, and their kids at a small, or young age started, having kids. And people would always, just either talk about them. But that's the thing, is because she never set that boundary. Like, I'm the parent.
Right.
It's like you just kind of let it like, oh yeah, like I'm a friend.
I'm a friend. Mm-hmm.
So, they either lost that respect, or they were like,
Yeah,
she's not gonna say anything.
Yeah.
She's not gonna do anything. But yeah, that's very true.
Yep.
Like your first job as a parent, like none of us have kids, but we all know it's like protect your kids and raise them right. It's like we didn't choose to come to this earth. You put your penis in her vagina. And
You
here
put
I am.
that in there, and then here we are.
Voila. Take care of me and teach
You're
me
welcome.
the way. Like,
Right.
we're gonna have many friends in life. We're just like random people we meet, but like we do need structure. Like kids need structure. And I do see that some people want to be best friends with their kids, but you can't be a best friend and not like set like rules and boundaries. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're just not gonna do whatever the fuck you want in this house because we're friends. Like, I'm your mom, I'm your dad. This is what's gonna happen. I still love you. Come talk to me about everything if
Right.
you want. If you don't want to, we can't. We have tools. We have people. We have, just the right place to do many things now.
Right,
It's like if
right.
you don't feel comfortable with me about certain things, that's fine. I'm not gonna like push your boundaries either.
Right.
And I'm definitely old school when it comes to whooping that ass if you need to. Not gonna lie. Like, I'm not down with the abuse. I'm not down with anything like that. Like, there's a situation, not situation, but an example is, one of my friends is struggling with her daughter because, she's a single mom. The dad's still present, but they don't live together. And, he's got his assigned visits or whatever the case may be, or the situation that's set up may be. But, the little girl tests her. She's with her mom all the time. And the little girl, it's like, hey, it's time to go get ready to take a shower because you got to go to school tomorrow. No. And then it's like, almost like the little girl manipulating her to just one more minute, just one more minute, just one more minute. And it's, to the point where the little girl's saying no. The mom is feeling embarrassed because she's like, you're telling me this in front of all kinds of people. You're embarrassing me. And when I tell you to do something, you do something.
Right.
You do it.
Right.
If it's take a shower, brush your teeth, pick this up, get out, move over or whatever. But if it's like, oh, go grab my cell phone from the 4th floor of the house or whatever, you know what I mean? That's different. But, she's had to pop her and she feels terrible. She's like, I feel terrible. She's going to hate me. And it's like, she doesn't want to get popped as much as you don't want to pop her. She's going to catch on. Give her a couple of days. If you've got to pop her 3 or 4 days in a row because she's doing whatever she's doing to you, she's going to catch on. She's going to be like, oh, if I continue to say no and if I continue to have this attitude, then it's going to lead to this discipline. And, she felt so bad because she's like, I don't want to send her to bed like that. I don't want to, have that last little memory being the last thing before she goes to bed. So she feels terrible. But then she's like, but I can't have her treat me like that. And it's like, yeah, whoop that ass. She'll stop. She'll stop.
Do y'all get whooped when you were younger?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
did. Yes, I did.
You didn't?
I didn't.
That explains.
Yeah. My dad may have got me one time, and I was like, "That's all you got, bro."
Yeah,
My mama
that's true.
though,
Right here.
honey,
I'm with you on that.
I'd have to go pick her weapon. She'd be like, "Go get me the belt." I'm like, "You go get the belt."
My mom would try to find anything and everything in the moment.
La chancla.
La chancla, cinturón, el palo, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's true. Like my dad, maybe once, but that was it. for
Yeah.
me. But my mom, on the other hand, oh yeah, she whooped my ass.
Her saying was, "Vas a dormir bien calientita la noche." I'm like,
Oh
"Shit,
my
I'm getting fucking jacked up."
My mom was like, she wasn't really heating us as much. She hit us a couple times, but with the belt. And now she tells us, I will go cry to the bathroom afterwards. And I was like, Mom, you did not look like you were going to cry when you were beating the shit out of me. And then, like, sometimes she'd be mad with me or my sister. So my sister would be like, go. And then, like, she'd try to, like, no, Mom, don't do it. And then I'm, like, running, trying to hide. So I'm like, no, Mom, no, don't come in. I won't do it. And it's just really funny because, you know, she didn't do it many times, but I'm like, I learned.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I
It's-
learned my lesson.
You know, there's a difference between abuse and like
Right.
papa.
And she slapped me
You
a
know.
couple times.
Oh.
Because,
Like in the face?
Yeah, because
I never got
I've
slapped
never
in the
been
face.
slapped in
No,
the
I
Never been
did
slapped in the
because
face.
I started getting.
Not even during sex, bitch. I'll fucking punch you. How dare you?
That's right, friend. That's right.
New school.
The
Don't
thing
fucking
that
touch
had
my face.
happened was that I thought that I was getting a teenager and I was getting the attitude and like I was like a bitch with my sister like when I was little, and my mom and my sister would like uña y mugre, right? Like they
Yeah.
were really close, and then I would get in a fight with my sister, and then my mom would come like, hey, you know, don't do that, and then I would give my mom an attitude. My mom was like, you keep doing this, I'm gonna like voltearte el mascadero, which means just like I'm gonna like blow the teeth out of your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
And then one day I just went over the line, bah, and she like bitch slapped me.
No, oh, you're right about that, huh?
And I was like,
You were not lying, Mom.
I gave her attitude, but I went to my room and I was like, oh.
Point taken.
Do I have my teeth?
No, yeah.
This
My mom
bitch.
would always, if I even said something or something, she was like, vas a ver, dice, te voy a romper todos los dientes del hocico. But she never
Yeah.
physically did it. She would just say it, but
No, she bitch
I
slapped
never
me.
got slapped.
She said she bitch
I
slapped.
never got
I
slapped.
deserved it though. If she listened to, she'd be like, hey, ¿por qué le estás diciendo a la gente esas cosas?
I think anybody
You know?
who I've met has gotten slapped in the face, like totally remembers that shit. Like
Yeah.
No.
traumatizing.
I don't think my sister did because, you know, she was the fucking favorite.
And
for
she'll,
her.
one of my friends will bring that shit up today to her mom. She'll be like, remember that time you busted my lip with your ring? She was like, remember that time you were talking back and I had to bust your lip with my... But she was like, you busted my lip with your ring. It was like, it's a good thing during summertime and that whole child protective services shit wouldn't happen.
But you know what's funny? My sister says that they were more strict with her. She's the oldest. They were pretty strict with me. They weren't, you know, they were never abusive. But what's that sound?
I don't know. It's an alarm.
Oh, I'm sorry, people.
No, I heard it.
It's somebody's vital sign monitor.
Right? Kind
We're-
of sounds
we're
like
at
we're
the
not at the
hospital.
hospital.
Yeah,
we're at the
Unstable.
hospital.
Oh, dang it.
Unstable.
We'll be back. Give us a minute. What was I saying?
You were talking about your mom.
Oh, yeah. My sister, you know, the strictest, she says that they were very strict with her than me. And I think they were pretty strict with me, not necessarily with, like, the way they discipline me physically, but the rules that were set. You know, it's like, you're going to do this and you're going to fucking do that because that's what the way it is. And then my little brother came along and it's like all the rules went out the fucking window.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if that's what happens in all the families, but I noticed that in mine for sure. I don't even think he's ever gotten beat. I gotta ask her. I don't think so.
But how many ass whoopings does he have in the books? Because I think I'm beating
Yeah.
him right now.
Mom, we have to have a talk.
Yeah, that's... I'm sure that my other two siblings got it worse than I did. But,
think so?
Because, yeah, they're much older than me, so they were together. They were, like, probably tag team. And to me, I was, like, lonesome. I'd have to do my own little maldades here and there in order to get some attention in this
You had to
bitch.
cover your own things.
But that's how that went. That's old school whoopings. It works. It's a thing.
And then, like, a lot of it of the new school is school with animals. Because I see some of the older people, they're like, that's an animal. Like, why are you touching it so much? Why are you letting it on the furniture? Why?
Yeah.
Because he's my baby, that's why, you know?
Yeah.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, animals are better than humans most of the time anyway.
They're best friends.
They're all angels, just so. Angels sit in my couch and in my bed between me and my husband.
The wedge between my husband and I is Ella.
Yeah, basically.
All right, guys. Well, that was a wrap for today's episode. Catch us next Wednesday here on the Anchor app or on Spotify or even on YouTube.
Good night.
Maybe next time we'll be
Oh, okay.
we'll be less nervous. There you go.
Sorry, she pressed fast forward on her thing. It sounded a little weird.
All righty. Well, bye.
Bye.